Hello and welcome back to set theory. We've seen a few quote-unquote operations in set theory before. For example, we define the successor of a set A to be A union singleton A. And this doesn't create any big philosophical concerns because we can just view this notation as an abbreviation, as a convenient shorthand for this. Similarly, we define the difference of the sets A and B to be this set. Again, nothing profound is happening here because whenever we write A \B, even though it seems like, hey, we're inventing a new symbol, are we even allowed to do that? Well, we can just view it as an abbreviation for this, since it would be a pain to write the whole thing every time. And similarly, big union A, we can view as an abbreviation for this. Of course, we had to use the axiom of union to prove this set even exists in the first place. However, once we prove that it exists, we're allowed to invent a new symbol for it. And for the sake of an example, let's temporarily define A smiley face B. What do I define A smiley face B to be? Well, it depends. If A and B are both non-empty sets, then I define A smiley face B to just be the intersection of A and B. However, if at least one of A or B happens to be the empty set, then we'll just define A smiley face B to be omega, the set of natural numbers. Kind of stupid and pointless, but hey, it's my lecture. I can define whatever new symbols I want. Or can I? Does it even make sense to write this? In the past, when we've defined operations like this, well, we just use it as shorthand for a more complicated expression. But with A smiley face B, what is it even an abbreviation for? Well, it depends on whether or not A and B are both empty or not. If they're both empty, you get this, but otherwise you get this. So is writing a piecewise definition like this cheating? So here's a question. Can we rewrite this guy without needing to write it in this piecewise form? And the answer to that question is yes. And let me show you how. Okay, well, here's my trick. We can write A smiley face B like this ugly thing. And I claim that this ugly thing will evaluate to A intersection B if A and B are both non-empty. They'll evaluate to omega otherwise. And let me show you why. Well, let's proceed by cases. For case one, assume that A and B are both non-empty. Well, if we look at this set right here, what's that the same as? Well, if A and B are both non-empty, that's in this case, that's true, right? So the set of X in this set for which true is just this set. So this simplifies to singleton A intersect B. All right, but now what about this set? Well, since we're assuming A and B are both non-empty, then the negation of that has to be false. So the set of X in this guy for which false is true is just the empty set because there's nothing in that set that could make false true. So what happens when you take the union of these two sets? Well, it's just this set union this set, right? So it comes out to be the union of these two sets. Now, if you take the union of any set with the empty set, well, you just get whatever this set is. So it simplifies to the singleton. Okay, but now what happens when you take this big union of what we just evaluated? Well, this comes out to be big union of the singleton. So big union of this. And now by a theorem from lecture 1.5, whenever you take a big union of a singleton, you just get what's ever inside. So you get this guy. Okay, so we showed that this ugly expression, if A and B are both non-empty, then the ugly expression just simplifies to A intersect B. That's case one. For case two, assume A and B are not both non-empty. In that case, what do these sets become? Well, if A and B are not both non-empty, then this guy here is false, which means that this set right here simplifies to just the empty set. But the negation of that statement is true. So the set of X in singleton omega for which true is just singleton omega. So what happens when you take the union of these two sets? Well, you just get empty set union singleton omega. And since union of the empty set is just the other thing, this simplifies to just singleton omega. And now if you take the arbitrary union of this guy, what do you get? Well, you're really taking the arbitrary union of a singleton. An arbitrary union of a singleton is just what's ever inside. So this simplifies to omega. Okay, and so we've proven that this ugly expression right here, well, if A and B are both non-empty, then it simplifies to A intersect B. But if A and B are not both non-empty, so in the other case, then it just simplifies to omega. So the moral of the story here is that piecewise definitions like this make sense, since in principle, you could always write them as something that's not piecewise. And so the moral of the story here is that in set theory, it's safe for us to make piecewise definitions that look like this, since they can always be thought of as just an abbreviation for something that looks like this. And in general, if you want to have something piecewise that looks like this, in principle, it can be rewritten like this. Like it and subscribe if this was helpful, and stay tuned for the next lecture.